We're in today with the legendary 3060 Ti, and we're gonna pair it up with this i9 10 Gen. We're gonna see how this whole system is working in AtlasFallen, and we're gonna see this GPU that was released in 2020 with 8 gig of VRAM, 4864 shaders, running with this i9 on 5 gig is going to hold this game. I know the CPU is not going to have any problems. It's got 10 cores and 20 threads, but sooner or later in the near future I have to look up for a new CPU and a new platform because this one is getting very old. Seriously, imagine that. Seriously. Regardless, we're gonna see how this system is working in the game. We're gonna see the details, resolutions, how long is this system is gonna hold. Seriously, let's jump in and see how it's working. All right, so let's start from the beginning. Let's put the resolution on lowest one because it will be ideal to see each resolution, how it looks, and see some details. See how the system is working. I mean, I know the system is gonna be okay with it, but I'm curious about the GPU because this is like the 640. I'm not gonna do 640. I'm gonna start with 720p, and I have no VSync. I'm gonna max it out very high. Right. So this is 720p low details, yeah? Okay, so kind of cool to see this resolution with this video card, but it looks funky and shouldn't be used like this because the GPU can actually do the job. But I just wanted to see the core load. I wanted to see the amount of VRAM. It just guides me through the whole specs. Now I swapped to video card because I don't need to see the CPU. Actually, I want to see the CPU. How much wattage? 780 watts on the CPU consumption, and I got 10.8 gig of system RAM. That's good, but the focus is on the GPU, so this is the problem. So I got nearly 2 gig on the clock, 130 watts consumption, and 5.5 gig. The GPU it's cooled and it's not very stressed, so hence why everything is fantastic with this. Yes. Now, why I'm interested in low details versus high details, in some cases like this one, it's working really nice and it gives me high FPS with 32 on minimals, 720p with low details with limit on 60 FPS. I'm interested in the consumption on the video card. I'm interested how I can make the GPU and the system run efficient. So let's take a look. Before I had 140 watts consumption with 150 FPS, yes, 28 minimals because 36, and look at the now. Half of the core speed is now 900 megahertz, 45 wattage consumption, 5.5 gig of VRAM still the same, 1200 on the RPM. It's good, you know. The whole system, it's fantastic. The whole GPU is running really nice now. So efficiency is very important. So hence why I wanted to see 720p. High details, now I'm gonna put it on high, on maximum details and see how it's running. The same with limit. Okay, so on high details with no limitation, the game starts to look really nice, even on 720p. So maximum core speed, 150 watts on the GPU, 5.3 gig of VRAM, nothing changed, 1200 on the RPM, and good FPS, 130, 40 on average. This is an interesting situation, seriously, with this video card. So low detail is not... it's not recommended because apparently it's working really nice, even like this. Yeah. So 68 degrees. Apparently the RPM is starting to ramp up in order to keep with the GPU. 70% on the cores. That's not bad, seriously. Okay, let's put 60 FPS limit on 720p with maximum details. How much we have now? 60 watts consumption, 1500 on the core speed. Not bad. 5.3 gig of VRAM. 1500 on the RPM. See, it just ramped it up a little on 1500 and the GPU starts to get cool, you know, 59 degrees. Kind of cool. I like this, 720p. I don't think it's gonna be a problem, and there's a couple of resolutions that will be ideal in the future, seriously. I like that, the fact that it's holding the fin properly on the edge. You know, like ankle bend. Now I'm on 1080p with low details, no cap on the FPS. Okay, so let's see, 71 degrees. You see, the GPU started. I think I have to intervene when it comes to the RPM on the video card because I don't like 78 degrees on the GPU. I get to 60 as much as possible, seriously. When it comes to benchmark, I ramp up the fan leave it there, and that's it. But I do want to see how the GPU is cooling itself otherwise. Okay, so we're reaching 188 watts. I got the maximum frequency from the GPU, nearly 2000 megahertz on the core clock, and nearly 200 watts on the consumption. So you understand where I'm coming from. 200 watts non-stop playing a couple of games like 5-6 hours every day is like a lot of wattage, you know, from a computer. You know, apparently we're nearly close to reaching 200 watts, 130 FPS on average. Look at it. The GPU is kind of fantastic, seriously. Actually, see, I don't want to die. Just want to explore edges on the map. Looks fantastic, seriously. I like it. Let's put 60 FPS cap on it. How are we doing? 73, 72. Oh, for nearly 200 watts, it became half instantly. 1080p, apparently, it's eating a lot of wattage. So 720p, it's kind of interesting resolution, seriously. Maybe 900p or something in between 720p and 1080p will be ideal. Wow. Actually made it, seriously. Okay. See, in some situation it drops to 560 60 watts.
We do not yet have the strength to unearth the gate. Come. Let us change that.
Uncapped with 1080p with high preset quality, apparently we are reaching 200 watts. So 5.2 gig of VRAM, 1500 RPM, but the GPU is staying around 75 degrees. If there is any problem, I will adjust the fan myself and everything will be okay, hopefully. Looks fantastic, it runs fantastic, there's no problem with it. And in some situation, it's kind of scary to see 200 watts on the GPU, seriously. But it gives you over 100 FPS. I put, for instance, like this, it's 100 hertz on the monitor via HDMI cable, so I can capture the card, yes? So there's no point on actually going over 100. But usually I put it on 60 FPS because 60 FPS is enough, and for some people, you know, some people maybe 100, 144 depending on each person, you know. So okay, let's put it on 60 FPS. Let's see how we're doing. 125 watts consumption with 60 FPS limit. I have under 50% load. That is so cool, seriously, under 50% load on the core, and it shows you that it's consuming less. That's the only thing that I'm interested to make it as efficient as possible. 1440p. I need to see how this GPU is performing because unlimited with the low details, it gives you an idea how the game is optimized. You know, it shows you how the GPU is performing with the game. For instance, in our situation now, I can actually see the core is maxed out. Gives me over 100 FPS on average, 120 to be more exact. It's reaching the maximum core load in some situation, maximum power usage, that is nearly 200 watts. 5.1 gig of VRAM used, that's okay, you know. So in this situation, I only want to see how much VRAM, system RAM is using. It's barely using any system RAM, 11 gig. So 16 gig of system RAM is fantastic, you know, for this. With 60 FPS limit, apparently, we're still having the same frequency on the core. On the wattage, 160, 170. That's not okay. The higher I go in the resolution, apparently, the weirder it is. So 5.1 gig of VRAM used, temperature is good, 72 degrees. 60 FPS with 24 on minimal. Generic numbers when you're limiting the FPS with this GPU, seriously. On maximum details, unlimited FPS, we need to see some really nice consumption on this one. Even the GPU needs to get hot because it looks kind of fantastic. I'm on the limit with my FPS, apparently 100 FPS. Below this is below the frequencies monitor, you know, and it started to kind of look dodgy. And I like the idea of having 1440p with the FPS for my monitor because it feels very snappy. You know, 28 FPS on minimal, 70 on 1%, and 41 on 1% on 0.1. Yeah, not that bad. This is kind of nice to see the performance with this video card like this, you know. So let's take a look and see how the CPU is doing. 11.1 gig of system RAM used. The wattage is decent. There's still no load on the CPU. Barely a couple of cores that are loaded, and that's it, you know. So overall, this is exactly what I need from this video card, you know. So let's move on. Now, if I limit the FPS on 1440p with maximum details to 60 FPS, we get some interesting readings, you know. So we get like 160, 170 watts. It's not that bad, you know. It makes me think that this is like a console, you know. Not bad, just decent there, you know, with 5.2 gig of VRAM used. On 75 degrees, barely the fan is moving with 2500 RPM. Now imagine 4K resolution with low details, unlimited on the cap. That'll be really fantastic. It looks very sharp on low details, seriously. This resolution is kind of good for it, but I actually seen the limit on the video card. So 60 FPS is barely achievable with this resolution. Maximum clock on the GPU, maximum wattage, that is 200, 5.4 gig of VRAM, and barely holding on the temperature. Let's see how we're doing with the system. 11.1 gig of system RAM, doesn't use system RAM. The CPU is not used, it's barely any wattage, you know, 70 watts. It's okay for this i9, seriously. Okay, so maximum details. Oh, it looks fantastic, seriously, I'm not gonna lie. It looks really fantastic, seriously. Look at it. The core is maxed out, so the core was maxed out since 1440p, so it just shows you that what type of settings and what type of resolution you have to drive this video card in order to play the game, you know. So 4K with maximum details. Apparently you get to see the GPUs using 6.3 gig of VRAM. This is it. Nearly 200 watts consumption, 1.9 on the 1.9 gig on the core clock, you know, and 8 degrees on the GPU. And this is where I have to throttle everything, because it doesn't make any sense, you know, to keep the GPU on 80 degrees. I really like the GPU. I really like the system, how it's performing. The only thing I'm curious is how long do I have until I have to change the thermal paste in this video card, because it's getting hot lately, you know. So that's the only concern. I liked how it performed. I liked how the system was holding the game. The GPU was doing really fantastic in 1440p. There was room for low details and high details in order to play with, how should I say, with a custom setting, depend on what monitor do you had, you know. So I would have chosen like 1440p with 60 FPS on low details, because I would have taken the efficiency route, and that's it. I like everything about it, so there's no question. Can you play the game with the RTX 3060 Ti? Yeah, of course, it's kind of fantastic. But I'm just curious, what resolution will you choose? Seriously, I'm curious.